how to set up and use a discussion forum within Blackboard. So this is a topic that this we've been getting asked a lot about, especially how to set one up, and how to grade a discussion forum. Um, so I'll go over that really quickly. Well, I'll try to not to go too quickly. Just give me 1 second here while I go into my dummy shell. All right. So hopefully you should see my Blackboard shell here. All right, so really quick, a discussion. So there's a difference between a discussion board and a discussion forum, right? So on your menu panel, there is a link called discussions. Each course has this link. So if you were to click on that link, that takes you to what's called the discussion board. So whenever you create a discussion forum, this is where your discussion forums be housed. So this is another a centralized, a dedicated centralized content area for your discussion forums. So that's the big difference between a discussion board and a discussion forum. Okay. Now this is an asynchronous communication tool uh, that it allows your students to collaborate with each other. It's not real time, so you know, if a student posts um, an answer to a discussion forum, it's not like they'll be able to have like a live chat. Again, it's an asynchronous tool that students can use to collaborate with themselves and with the instructor. All right. So here I have some discussion forums that I've already created. So again, to access your discussion board, you're just going to go to the menu panel here on the left, and you're going to click on the link called discussions, and it'll take you to your discussion board. And for you to create your own forum, you're going to click on the button called create forum. All right. You're going to name it whatever it is that you want to name it. Okay. And here in this description area, this is where you want to post the answer or the topic that you want your students to answer. You know, whatever it is that you want your students to discuss about. This is where you're going to add that question to. Right? Okay. You can add text. You can add an image if you need to. You can, you know, if there's a specific YouTube video that you want your students to view before they answer the question, you can embed you can paste the YouTube URL here, or you can embed it in this text area here. The next thing that you want to make sure you set is where it says available. You want to make sure that you select yes. Right. You have the option to set to display the form on a specific day and time. So let's say you want this forum to become available to students on Saturday, let's say Saturday midnight. So you would just select the little calendar icon, select the date, and you would select the clock icon and select the time, right? Display until, this is when how long you want, or this is where you want to set the dates for when that forum will no longer become available to students. So let's say I want this forum to disappear on next week on the 23rd. So I selected the 23rd. I can select the clock icon to change the time availability. So I'm going to select end of day. So 11:59 p.m. So once it hits midnight, that link to this forum will no longer be visible to my students. Now, as you're scrolling down, you're going to see some forum settings, and this is where you decide on how you want your forum to display, and whether it's a graded forum or not, and some other options here. Now, if you leave it as standard view, that just means that students will be able to see uh, their classmates' posts right away. Now, if you select this option right here, participants must create a thread. Um, that means that when the student clicks on the link to the discussion forum, they have to answer your question first before they can view their other classmates' posts. So this one's really helpful if you want your students um, uh, to give their answer, to clearly think out the question that you're asking them, and for them to clearly think about their answer without them having to kind of view their other classmates and cherry pick what they're posting and add in that to their own post. So this is an option that you can use. I'm just going to select it as standard view. Grade, this is where you have to decide whether you want this form to be graded or not. If you have it as a graded assignment, you just click on grade discussion form. You have to enter a point value or points possible. So I'm just going to select 100. When you do select this option, Blackboard will automatically create a grade center column for you. You don't have to create a column for this forum. As long as you select grade discussion forum, it'll create a uh, a column for you, right? The show participants and needs grading. Now, this by default is set as one. So as soon as a student submits to the forum, it'll show up in needs grading for you to grade. Okay. If you, let's say you want your students um, to submit their thread, but also to reply to two other classmates, well, then you would just change the post number to 3. So now the student has to submit their own forum and reply to two other classmates, and then it'll show up in needs grading for you to grade their posts and their replies. If they were just to submit one, their initial post, then it would just look on your end as in progress, which means that the student started it but just hasn't completed the requirements that you set. All right. The next item is the due date. I do recommend that you use the due date option because it'll populate that due date on the calendar on the student's end. So all you have to do is just click on the calendar icon, click the due date that you want the students to complete this by, and the time that they have to complete it by. All right. So again, this due date will populate into the calendar. Also, if the students download the Blackboard student app, they'll get a notification of any due dates that are upcoming. You can associate a rubric to the discussion form if you have a rubric. If you don't, we have sample rubrics that we can share with you that you can use and edit and associate a rubric to your forms if you need to. You can use the form. You can use the rubric to help you grade uh, the 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 form when it's time for you to grade. All right. Now there are some options here that you can select from. Um, one one option that I don't recommend you select is the allow authors to delete posts. All right, so if this option for whatever reason is selected by default, the majority of the time it's not. But if it is, just uncheck it, and and I recommend that you not use it because this allows the student to delete their own post, and that's fine if you want to allow them to do that. Um, but if you select it, you just have to make sure that you're clear to your students that once they click on delete, that post is gone. There's no way that we can retrieve it. So that's one reason I recommend not using this option. But the option that I do recommend you use is the allow authors to edit their own posts. So this option won't allow them to delete their posts, but if they need to edit their posts for whatever reason, let's say you know they accidentally added something that they didn't want, they can go back and edit they can go back and edit the post. Okay. Now, if a student accidentally submitted to the form and they didn't mean to, you as the instructor, you can go back and you can delete that form for them without having them, without having you use this option here. Okay. Now, there are some other options here that you can use or you can unselect. It's up to you what you want to use. Right. Now, once you're done, just click on submit. And now that form has been created and it shows up here at the bottom. You can use the drag and drop option here to adjust the form to wherever it is that you want that form to display, or you can leave it at the bottom like so. Okay. Now, um, now there is a difference between a discussion forum and a link to a discussion forum. All right. Now here you created the discussion forum. That's it. You're done. Your students can access the forum from by clicking on the discussions link here on the menu panel. But let's say you want to add a link to that forum in lessons. So what you'll do is you go to lessons and you go to whatever folder you want to add that discussion forum to. So let's say I want to add that discussion forum to week 3 folder. So I'm going to click on that. And here is my folder. I'm going to go to tools. I'm going to select discussion board. And now I'm going to select the option that says select a discussion board form. So I'm going to select that. And now I'm going to select the new form that I just created. So I'm going to select test forum and I'm going to select next. And you can leave the link name as is unless you want to change it. And here in this text area, you can do two things. You can add the question to the form again, or you can add additional information for the students. So when the students access that folder, they'll see more information. So I'll just type something there. Make sure that it's set as available. You don't need to set a display after or a display until because you've already set those dates in the discussion board. Now you click submit. And now there is a dedicated link to that forum in your folder, right? And now your students can access that specific discussion forum in the folder, or they can access it from the discussion board on the left hand side. Now, another option that you can do is, let's say, you don't want to go through all of that, and you just want to create the form all in one shot. So what you would do is you would just go to lessons. You would go to whatever folder you want to go to. Whoops, let me go to a different one. Let me use week 4. So now I'm in my week 4 folder. And now what I can do is I can go to tools and I can select discussion board. Now, instead of select a discussion board forum, I'm just going to leave it as link to discussion board page. And then I'm going to select create a new forum, because what I'm going to do is I'm going to create the discussion forum right now and then create a link for it inside of that folder. So I'm just going to name it week 4 DQ. Now I have to add the question that I want my students to answer. Make sure that available is set to yes. Again, if you want to set display after or display dates, you can by selecting the calendar and the clock icon. Display until when you want this forum to not become available to students. You're going to select how to view the thread, whether it's a graded forum, how many posts a student has to complete before it shows up and needs grading, a due date, which I recommend you use. So I'm going to select due date, and any of these other settings here you can select from. Now you're going to click submit. Now you've created that forum. Now that forum that you just created is highlighted in blue. You don't have to make any other selections. All you have to do is click on next. And now that takes you to the link information page where you can change the name of the link, or you can add text here if you need to. You don't need to add any text if you don't want to. All you do is click submit. And now that link to that form that I've just created is already inside of the folder. And if I go back to the discussion board, that form has also been created there. All right. So there's two ways you can create a discussion forum. You can create it directly from the discussion board, and then that's it. If you want to link to that forum, you would just need to go to lessons and go to that specific folder where you want to add the link to the forum to, or like I just did, you can go into the folder, create the discussion forum, and then create the link to it all at once. Okay. So now I'm going to go over how to grade a discussion forum. There's two ways you can grade a discussion forum. The way that I prefer, each instructor has their own preferred way of grading a discussion forum, but the way I prefer to grade a forum is just clicking on the link um, discussions to go to the discussion board, and then I'm going to click on that forum that I want to grade, and it takes me to this page where I see all the students' submissions. And then you're going to see a tab called Grade Discussion Forum. So if you click on that, all your students will be listed in on the screen here, and it'll show you how many posts a student has submitted. So let's say you set the requirement for students to complete 3 posts, um, but you have some students that have only posted twice, and the due date has already passed. Well, you can still grade them, even though they didn't meet the whole requirement. You can still grade those 2 forums, and all you have to do is just click on grade next to the student's name. You'll see all their posts and replies. So any replies that a student has completed will always be on the top, and it'll also have the RE indicator next to the subject. So that means that this specific student replied, and this is the reply that they submitted. Their initial post will always be at the bottom. So if a student has created their initial post, it'll be at the bottom. If it doesn't have that RE next in the post area, that means that this is their initial post. Okay. You can reply to any of these submissions directly by clicking on reply here if you need to. You can leave feedback to the student here on the right hand side. So, you can type whatever it is that you need to type. Now, sometimes this little feedback to learner option is hidden for whatever reason. Sometimes that happens if you're using a mobile device. If you don't see that text area to enter a feedback to the learner, just click on this little arrow, and it'll appear. Okay. Um, you can use the content editor tool here. The content editor tool is here on the add content. You can add a file or a YouTube video if you need to. You can add You can add notes. The notes students don't see. These are just notes for you. If if for whatever reason you want to leave a note to students, but the students don't see notes. They only see the feedback to learner. And then what you do is you just enter the grade. So here in the purple area, you just type the grade that you want to give the student. And when you type your grade, you just click on submit. And now that grade has been recorded for this specific student. Now, the other way for you to grade um, a discussion forum assignment is if you go to course management and you go and you select grade center, there's a link called needs grading. If you click on that, if you click on that link, it's going to take you to the needs grading, and any submission that the students have done will show up here. All you have to do is just click on the name of the student, and it'll take you to that page. Again, you can leave feedback to the student. If you want to reply to any of the students' posts, you can. You just enter the student's grade and click submit, and now that grade will be populated in the student's grade in the grade center. All right. Now the third and final option for you to grade a student's discussion form assignment is to go to Grade Center. You click on Full Grade Center. So this is your full grade book. You're going to look for that column for that discussion forum, and you're going to see these yellow icons. That means that the student has submitted to the assignment and it's ready for you to grade. So all you do is just click on the drop down arrow next to it. You can select view grade details or grade user activity. So I'm going to select grade user activity, and it's going to take me back to that screen where I can review what the student has submitted. I can review their replies or their initial posts. I can leave their feedback, and I just enter their grade. Whoops, that's too much of a grade there. And then I click submit. And then when I'm done, I just click on OK here at the bottom. And now if it takes me back to the grade book, and now you can see that that student's submission has been graded and it's recorded in the grade book. All right. So that's a discussion forum. Are there any questions regarding creating a discussion forum or
I
grading a
have a Oh, I'm sorry, I have a question regarding the grading. Would
yeah.
you all be able to have any type of workshop on really how to calculate? I haven't really mastered that part of Blackboard yet. I do my calculations off on a spreadsheet separately.
Mhm.
Is if Do you have anything or any tutorials already on how to really put in the numbers correctly so it calculates on your own? I don't have to do the work again.
Yeah. Well, we do have a previous recording of a Grade Center training that we ran. Just send Mercer Online an email, and we'll send the link to that video. But
Okay.
yeah, we can also run another Grade Center training. Probably
Mhm.
not right now, but
Mhm.
maybe later on in the
Okay.
month.
All
But
right.
yeah, just definitely send us an email, and we'll send you that link to that
Okay.
video right away.
All right. Thank you.
And you can also schedule something with us where we can meet with you one on one and
Mhm.
go over the grade book setup with you.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay. Yep. All right. Any questions regarding the grade center? Don't be shy. Let me check the chat really quick.
So, Vicente, I have a question. It's not about the grade center,
Mhm.
though. My question is about notifications. Students will say to me, "Oh, I got a notification about this or that," and then other times they'll say, "Oh, I didn't get a notification about that." Can you explain when when Blackboard sends notifications to students and what they're like?
Notifications. Okay, so that is a setting that a student has to initiate on their end.
Uh,
So they have to go to their profile. So they're going to click on this little drop down, and they're going to go to settings, and they're going to click on notification dashboard, and they
Uh,
have to oops, sorry, not notification dashboard. Let's see. Yep. So they're going to select edit. They're going to select edit. Edit notification settings, and this is where they would select exactly what
um,
it is they want. What it is they want to get notified about, and from what courses. If they don't select a setting, then they won't get any notifications. And if they select a specific settings, then they'll get notifications on that itself. If they download the student app, they'll get they'll get notification by default. Also, if they set any specified settings, they'll get those notifications by the settings that they selected.
okay, so I have one more question. If
Mhm.
a student is set up to receive notifications
Yep.
and I put an announcement on Blackboard, the student gets a notification.
Mhm.
Then I see I have a typo in my announcement. So I go in and I fix my typo. Does the student get another notification about that same announcement? Because
They
it's like I've posted it twice.
they won't get another notification, but when they go to review the announcement, any changes that you've made will it'll change on their end.
Okay. Okay, thanks. Just
Sometimes they won't get a notification about the new announcement, but they might just get a notification that says that the instructor changed something within the course.
okay, thanks.
Yep.